The meeting of May 2nd of the County Commissioners to order. I'll ask for public comments. Anybody has any? Mr. Babson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have yesterday's paper here, and in which you say public comment period is not for questions.
It's yours.
If that's true, at what point is the public supposed to have any real input and ask questions? And the only thing left, if you can't ask questions, is a statement, and I don't want to come in here at 8:30 and say, oh, I think the nursing home looks nice, or I like buying hay from the county farm. When do I ask my questions and have the,
You can ask your questions anytime.
okay. And I understand why you don't want to be caught off guard and
We
answer
may
right away.
not answer those questions
That's
right that
fine,
day.
but that's not what I got out of this article.
Okay.
Thank you.
I believe further on, at the end of that article, it does say that I accept questions.
Uh,
Yeah, it does.
Change the minutes up
That's right.
somewhere. But we are going to be able to still ask questions.
Yeah.
It's just we may not get an answer right away.
Yep.
That's fair enough. Thank you.
Anybody else with comments? You have one, yes, Mr. Brown.
The Carroll County Renewable Energy Grant,
Yeah,
do you know anything about that?
want to go in more detail?
Project costs. The engineering department of the architectural firm EGA Architects has estimated the cost of the purchase and installation of a wood pellet burning heating system will be $500,000. This will include the necessary renovations to the building, the installation of the boiler, the connection of the new heating system to the heat distribution of the existing building, as well as the connection to be made to the new nursing home facility.
Those are all estimates, right?
Project cost by the architect.
Estimates.
Oh, I don't see, okay, estimated cost. But why does it say this will include the necessary renovations to the building? And this is the architect saying this.
It must have been strictly for the boiler pellet room renovations.
So if that to be the case for $500,000,
Right.
then why were we billed another $375,000 for those renovations?
No, we didn't pay that. That's the estimate of what it would cost.
Yeah, total.
It came up to three,
No, this includes the purchase of the boilers also.
well, I'd have to see that and look into it.
The cost
I
of
think
the
that's-
purchase and installation.
Yeah, I think that's strictly estimates.
But why would an architect be saying it includes the necessary renovations to the building to install the pellet boilers?
Was that EGA?
EGA.
I don't know. Again, that was estimates way back. What's the date on it?
There is no date. I can't see it. Well, I see the new county nursing home, which will be built this spring.
Okay, those were way back then.
The project
really
will go out
estimates.
to bid in February 2010.
Okay,
So
so that,
even back then, they were projecting that it would include the renovations to the building
Yeah.
to install the pellet boilers.
yeah, strictly estimates. I'd like to look at that and go further in detail next week on that. Okay,
Where'd you get it?
Mr. Babson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr.
Downstairs.
Chairman, it's, yeah, the cost went up over the period of 2 years, but isn't the bigger question is why the architect that we used is that far off in their estimate? I mean, that's a substantial, I believe the cost of the pellet stove I read somewhere was $315,000.
Right.
And yes, I agree with you, it's just to fix the room up, but, you know, they get 10% of the price of the, or somewhere between 6 and 10 for the price of the job, and And these are professionals, we're paying them a lot of money. I just can't believe they're that far off in their estimates. And I think that's the bigger question.
Okay, yes.
I got a
Amy?
couple. What I think what gets me about this whole thing is nobody saw the cost coming, but there was an estimate that size, back 2 years ago. So I'm wondering why we were caught off guard about the cost. And the second question is, are we going to be able to release information regarding the jailbreak?
Yes,
Okay, great.
yep. Yes, Mr. Brown?
And the second part of that is, why did Bonnet, Page, and Stone take it upon itself to put out a bid for itself for the purchase and installation of these pellet boilers a year and a half prior to ever receiving the bid?
Is that in writing somewhere?
Yes, I have it right here.
Okay, again, I'd like to see it. Is that all in one? Both those questions you had are all on that one?
No, there's two separate.
Oh, two separate?
There's a separate, Bonnet, Page, and Stone put it out to bid themselves.
For what?
For the purchase and installation of the pellet boilers on
Okay.
July 16, 2010.
They put out the bid?
They put out their own bid, and it was to be delivered to the, bids will be received at the office of Bonnet, Page, and Stone, July 16, 2010.
Okay, I gotta look at that. I don't have the answer for you right now.
Just curious, wouldn't BPS put out the bid and then wasn't it given to biomass? Because biomass is,
Yeah,
that's probably the bid he's referring to, right? Is the bid that went to biomass? Could that be right?
Well, it's part of that is the purchase of the boilers, and part of it's to
The
install the boilers.
so they got about half the bid.
So,
basically, they got half the-
Biomass is one of the companies that is listed here to get the boilers from apparently, but this is a bid to purchase and install them a year and a half prior to the bid ever being awarded. So that to
Okay.
me just, that seems strange.
if you could give me a copy of that, I'd be glad to look at it. Anybody else got any further comment? Yes, Mr. Brown?
Is it my understanding, as it's been reported in the newspaper, that the Human Resource Director is the one looking for a settlement,
I can't make any comment on that.
who also now got a settlement for their significant other?
I can't make any
And
comment
that's
on it.
why you two were in such a hurry to go out and get an attorney to get the Human Resource Director a settlement?
I can't make any comment on that. Okay, end of public comments. Would you talk about the release of the investigation of the jail? We have a copy that has been passed through the sheriff and the attorney, and this is what we would release today.
Yes, we are going to be releasing, do you want me to read it?
Go ahead, yeah.
At the request of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners and as directed by Sheriff Christopher Conley, an investigation and referral of the review of facts and circumstances regarding the above-mentioned incident, jail escape and investigation, Carroll County House of Corrections, December 1st, 2011. It was undertaken by James M. O'Mara, Jr., CJM, CLS, a former superintendent of a correctional institution. A thorough and well-documented 32-page investigation and report was prepared for the sheriff and Board of Commissioners regarding the escape and the then current security conditions of the Carroll County House of Corrections. A further review of the facility and security-related issues was also undertaken. Mr. O'Mara concluded that the escape and incident was not the result of negligence or inattention to duties and responsibilities of employment on the part of any member of the staff of the House of Correction. Recommendations and improvements to the existing security at the facility for the protection of inmates, correctional staff, and county were made in the report. The specifics of the report and the specific recommendations were discussed in non-public session at a regular noticed meeting of the Board of Commissioners and are protected from disclosure under New Hampshire RSA 91A:32G. The Board of Commissioners were advised to work on a plan and to implement suggested changes to the corrections operations. The plan and budgetary costs are to be coordinated between the Commissioners and the Superintendent and later to be presented to the Carroll County Delegation for their review and consideration.
Okay. This was reviewed by the attorney with the sheriff, and this is what they felt could be released at this time. I have the full report, and we will follow up with the recommendations from that report regarding bringing that report to the attention, a portion of it, the recommendation portion, to the delegation for approval. It includes more personnel. It includes better fencing, and that will be addressed with the delegation. Okay. We have minutes from last week.
Yeah, I gave the commissioners last week 3 months of the minutes that needs to be released from 2011. Do you
Yep.
have that, so we can release those? From
I've
January, February, March.
got to read those again. I've
So
read
you
them through
didn't read
once.
it?
Yep.
You didn't read it last
I
week?
have read them once. I want to go through it once more. We'll approve them for next week.
And I just gave you the next set.
Right, and I gave
April,
those.
May, June, and one from July.
Yep. And I
And
gave
that
those to
is,
Dorothy.
that is not a lot. That is not a lot. I think you can read now too.
Okay.
Maybe we can start releasing.
Okay. Do I have minutes from last week's meeting?
So Dorothy, you gave me this. This is the non-public from last week. What you make notes? Is that it? What you put on my desk?
No, this was,
What was that?
this was what I just read.
Oh, okay. Oh, you make changes then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Actually, Attorney Dewhurst made the changes.
Oh, okay. Then we go into the public minutes. I didn't watch the video. I just read the minutes, April 25th, 2012, and it looks good. Any changes, what you want to make?
Do you have any changes on last week's minutes?
I made some changes, but I think for the most part, most of it was taken care of.
So you have those, this you give it to me? I make a motion to approve the minutes, April 25th, 2012, with corrections.
Do I hear a second? I'll second the minutes. Any further discussion on those minutes? All those in favor of the approval of last week's minutes, say aye. Aye.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr. Babson.
Is it proper procedure for you to approve minutes with the corrections not in them, and one of the other members says, I have corrections, and they're not put in the minutes, and then you approve them?
They were in the minutes.
I thought, maybe I misunderstood you. I thought you said you had them here and you would show them to, or something like that.
No, that was something else. No, that,
So
those,
your corrections are in the minutes?
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
So your corrections are already in the minutes? So you give the corrections up front?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were just grammatical things.
It's just commas and.
Do you want,
okay.
you don't want to take up
Okay.
time doing that, so.
Oh, so you already have, correct, oh, okay.
Okay. So.
But you said you had
let me-
some do you have some more corrections, because you said you, so,
I crossed out an S in regard.
oh, okay.
So what was the,
And I haven't made the changes until we meet this morning.
So you're
now that
going to
we're
send the
meeting-
corrected one?
Now that we're meeting, if there's no other changes that need to be made, I go back today and make them,
Oh, okay.
and then send a copy to you.
She said you had an S or something, she had one more?
so it's just minor grammatical.
Okay, so that's fine.
But that's why you get a draft, so you could see.
Yeah, it's a draft and then
Okay, I want to ask for the vote again. I'm not sure how many voted for this. Questions has been moved and approved the minutes of last week. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, okay, unanimous. So voted then. Any reports to be given on any meetings attended?
Yeah. Yesterday, I attended 2 meetings, both having to do with transportation. And the first meeting was about the bus service, and we just discussed the various things that are going on. Particularly of note was that last Friday, I believe it was, or perhaps the Friday before, there was a meeting at the Albany Town Hall regarding bus service to Conway, because Conway was the only town that had not signed on to the $3,000 for the dial-a-ride service, and they were the major users of that dial-a-ride service. And it came up at that meeting that an anonymous donor donated $3,000 to cover that cost. Additionally, a donor at the meeting put in another $500, and someone recently sent in, we learned at a meeting on yesterday, another $25. So that is covered now, but there is, still understanding that we cannot go on that way in the future. Following that meeting, there was a meeting on the Regional Coordination Council, having to do with also with bus service, and of consequence to this body here, it was decided that the Economic Council would be White Mountain Economic Council would be dealing with the service application for the grant, and the commission would not be involved in that. And there was, basically, that was what pertained to this meeting here.
Any other meetings or events attended by the commissioners? No? Okay, then we'll move into our agenda. Will is
Playing midwife?
a midwife right now as we speak. How many piglets have been born?
8.
8 so far. You're waiting for a few more?
I think he said 8.
Okay. Jason, you're on. Will's being delayed. Good morning, Jason. You have seen the release of the study of the jailbreak.
I haven't seen the release. No, I've seen the report, but I haven't seen the release.
Okay, we released it earlier.
Okay.
That's what they agreed to, that we could release out of that report.
Okay.
And basically, we'll follow up with the recommendations with the delegation.
Okay,
Okay.
very good, thank you. This morning, we have 67 in-house, 1 weekender, 9 transfers, 4 out on electronic monitoring, 9 on pretrial release, total population of 90. I took in 11 inmates last week, 7 were repeaters, and 6 were released. Repeater charges, 1 came in for attempted murder, first degree and second degree assault, and reckless conduct, booked 8 times in 3 years. 1 for willful concealment, booked 3 times in 6 years. 1 for robbery and simple assault, booked 12 times in 11 years. 1 for an electronic bench warrant, booked 6 times in 4 years. 1 for a violation of a protective order, obstructing the report of a crime in protective custody, booked 3 times in 2 years. And 1 for simple assault, criminal mischief, booked 2 times this year. My understanding is Joe came over last week with the service contracts and asked for them to be signed, but you guys wanted to review them with me or something?
Right, want to get your approval on it?
Okay.
With train?
Is that the one where he was asking for the light to be put in
But outside the,
boiler room in the event that their equipment
Visual
fails?
alarm system?
Yes.
Yeah, for $2,480.
Mhm. If that's something that you don't think we, because I didn't budget for that this year, if that's something that we want to put on hold until later this year to see what our funds look like, it's something maybe we can do, or next year we can budget for it.
Okay,
So we can put that one on hold if you'd like,
okay.
because I specifically didn't budget for something of that nature. But the other contracts, if we could sign those.
It's not, you're saying it's not critical at this point?
And it's something that we should do, but not absolutely critical at this point in time.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's been a couple of occasions where had that system been in place, he would have been able to find that there would have been an equipment failure prior to leaving, so he could have been addressed and then not having to come back.
Okay,
At this point in time, the company that we contracted with to address the recreation yard, they've been
Right.
on site for the past couple of days. They should have their work completed by the end of this week. And if you're available, maybe later this week, you want to come down and look at it just to see what they've done.
okay.
Took an inmate in on administrative transfer from Coast County last Thursday. And we're going to actually send them back because of housing complications. So that's going to take place, I think, today. The video arraignment equipment, that's been installed and up and operational. We've done about a half a dozen video arraignments at this point.
Really?
It's being used out of the Comeau Circuit Court extensively. Just on Monday alone, I think we did 4 arraignments. We are going to start tracking the number of arraignments and how many hours are dedicated to do that, just for staffing levels. So you can see the uses. There's going to be a savings in one area, but obviously a cost in another. On the 20th, I attended the drug court seminar down at the administrative office of the courts. At the conclusion, I spoke with one of the members from the Stratford County team, who's going to be here on June 5th to talk about their program. And Representative Babson is seeing a graduation down at Stratford County. So they're going to come up and talk to the committee about how they started the program and any success stories that they've had out of their county. Next Monday starts the second of the 3 corrections academies that are scheduled to be this year. We're going to be sending 2 by the end of that academy because we rehired some people that had prior corrections experience. We're going to be able to certify 4 out of this academy, which will bring us up closer to having everybody fully certified, which would be good.
So you're saying 4 of them would be,
2 are going to the academy, but I'm going to put in 2 additional under reciprocity,
okay,
so I can
Okay.
have 4 certified. Just had one officer resign. starting Monday, we're gonna bring 2 more people in, which will actually give us a full complement to include the 2 new
The 2 new ones.
people that were authorized. And then this past Monday, the new full-time LPN started as well. We did interviews there. One of the doctors, along with our medical staff, did the interviews. We had 2 people that we interviewed. One was selected, and then she started this past Monday. Working out very well so far.
Good. That's it?
That's all I have.
One officer that resigned, you're going to hire also a replacement? Oh, no,
Did that?
one officer resigned. you
Yes,
said.
ma'am. Then one of the 2 that's starting on Monday is actually that person's replacement.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Jason formed a committee which met last week,
The 17th, week before, I'm sorry.
week before, okay. And then an article appeared in the paper regarding that.
Mhm.
I had a call from an individual, I believe he was from Madison. I called it into the office to keep track of who's interested in being on that committee.
Mhm.
And he was a psychiatrist, a correctional officer at one time in another state. He feels he can add to the committee. So, I can't think of his name right offhand, Bob. Anyway, I gave it to the office. We'll keep track of those people that are on it. You want to mention who you contacted regarding that committee for recidivism?
Yes, I did contact Janet Crawford from the Economic Council, Chamber of Commerce, excuse me, in North Conway. She is pleased, and she will certainly be at the meeting. Additionally, I had an opportunity to speak with Lance Zach, and he will be at the meeting. But he had already been contacted by someone else,
Okay.
but he will be at the meeting as well.
Okay, and and you contacted, who'd you tell me? The originals? From
No,
North Conway?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
no,
Okay, I'll do that then, with Wally Campbell.
yeah, I didn't know
Okay,
who to
I
contact.
thought you
there.
said you did that.
No, I didn't know who to contact there.
Okay. Anything to add to that committee?
I don't believe so. I'm going to speak to our mental health provider. At some point, we're going to need to bring their services to the table as well.
Right,
I've talked to Superintendent Ward out of Belknap County, looking to maybe get a couple of counties in having a risk assessment tool utilized by the counties. Because currently, counties use different instruments to assess. If we had a standardized tool, then we could all collect the same data and report out the same, similar findings, so we
Yeah.
could have a one-track system.
was that brought up in the affiliates?
I think that's probably gonna be brought up in the next meeting,
Okay,
so it hasn't been brought up yet. So, I'm looking to, there's a training that's coming up, we might send some staff to. It's being held over in Vermont, it's on the Ohio Risk Assessment. It was founded by a gentleman, and it was tested on, I want to say 1,800 inmates out in Ohio. And then the tests were validated through other risks assessments, and they came up with similar results. There's a 65-page report that I'm currently reviewing now on the validation of the exam. So it might be something that we look to bring to the facility
okay.
and have our mental health counselors use.
The subcommittee chairman of the jail delegation might be also invited to be on that committee, just to know what's going on.
Absolutely.
As you know, or those that were here last time, there was a defense attorney, a judge, chief of police, probation. I forget who else was there. Was that it?
The prosecutor attorney
And-
came
and
in
the
late.
county attorney, member of
Oh,
the county
yeah,
attorney's
okay.
office.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's the right way to go, and I hope we can reduce the repeaters. And so what now we're looking at is inviting in CEOs of different companies with the idea